So one of the things that, in terms of engagement and our caring hearts and the way we relate to our bodies, our lives, our families, our work and the world, is the emotional pull that all of those different things have. And so, again, I'm talking a lot from personal experience. So I grew up as a very tearful child. You might be surprised, but I was much more tearful than my sisters, to my embarrassment. But I cared so much about all the other animals and people and things, and we lived on a farm, so that was also challenging. So I was always trying to help everybody and everything, and that sense of caring was very much, I should do more, I ought to do more. This person is struggling, or this animal's having difficulty, I should do more to be able to help. And so that was one of the big questions in my own life, growing up as a teenager, that sense of never being able to do enough. And we were a very poor family, actually, in many respects, even though sort of I've got the accent of a sort of at least upper middle class English person, sort of boarding school education, but my parents were totally broke. My sisters and I got by on scholarships, and my grandparents, who lived about half a mile from here, so we were very poor. So I couldn't really do much in the world in terms of activity and helping people hands-on. So that was a big sort of question or struggle in my life. So in terms of Buddhist practice, what I feel is incredibly helpful is that this way of recognizing how, in a sense, the world arises in our mind. Maybe as you are walking, you could notice, there's a perception of the body moving, the visual field changing, sounds changing, it comes and goes, and it's all happening here. So in the way the Buddha talked about it was that, the world happens within our mind, as he said to Rohitasa when he was having a dialogue with this Deva Rohitasa. In this very body, with its thoughts and perceptions, there is the world, the origin of the world, the cessation of the world, and the way to the cessation of the world. Not looking at the cessation of the world as a kind of looking for the kind of destruction of the planet, but the sort of ending of the mind getting lost and entangled in the world. So the world arises in the mind. It happens here. It's known in this mind. So one of the aspects of caring for others and working in the world, in the family, in the workplace, and on the planet, is how that sense of going out to, I care about these people, I care about my work, I care about this, so that because of the emotional strength, the mind goes out to others, so that when I'm caring for you, I don't notice that experience of caring, or if I'm anxious about you, I don't know the experience of anxiety. I'm paying attention to you. So what this is probably, again, I'm not reading anybody's minds, but that's how it is. Or if I'm angry with you, similarly, if I'm upset with you, my mind goes to you. It doesn't notice what the feeling of anger is like. So this kind of practice is helpful in helping us to see the nature of emotion and getting to know emotion as it arises and takes shape and works within our life. So it's not saying that we shouldn't be compassionate, or we shouldn't be caring, or we shouldn't be making efforts to help others, but to notice that emotion of caring, that emotion of anxiety, or that emotion of urgency as something that's happening in our mind. So it's not a kind of an offensive thing to take the attention off the person or the beings that you're caring about or you're compassionate for, and to turn the attention back and look at that feeling of caring, of compassion. This feeling of caring arises, takes shape, and passes away. So you're not suppressing it. You're not identifying with it as me and mine, but it's known as an internal event. And so, particularly, this is helpful with those feelings of anxiety. We just did a reprint of a little book of mine called For the Love of the World, which is about the four foundations of mindfulness and the four elements and eco-anxiety. So it was, the book was done about nearly 10 years ago, but but still highly relevant, even more relevant probably now than before. So this kind of practice, it helps us to know, I do care about the world, and I do want to do things that are useful and skillful, but in this moment, this is a feeling of anxiety happening here. It's an event arising from this mind, this heart, and it's known here. So it's a part of this. The benefit of this kind of practice is learning to not get completely drawn into the thing that we care about, we're worried about, or we're enraged about. The oil companies or the government or those people who are doing things that are injurious and harmful to the environment, or to our social group, or to our or to the planet in various different ways. But looking at, this is a feeling of anger, this is a feeling of injustice is being exercised. So when we are able to know those emotions within our own mind, again, it's not as though and that's what I started with today. It's not as though we're saying, you should just know that feeling of this is unjust, and then just do nothing and look at that feeling of injustice arising and passing. Yeah, look at that feeling of this is unjust, and then consider on the basis of that, okay, what's a skillful way to respond to this? Let there be action and speech taking shape that is skillful and wise and beneficial, that arises on the basis of that. So we still care, but we're recognizing this feeling of caring or compassion or frustration at social injustice of various kinds. That's an event. That's a pattern of experience arising within our own hearts. So and for myself, it took me a long, long time. I was already a monk for about 7 or 8 years before, and hearing Dhamma talks. In those days, Ajahn Sumedho was giving like 2 Dhamma talks a day. So I had a lot of input. So I confess to being extremely thick in this regard. And he was probably talking about it a lot before the penny started to drop, after I've been in robes about 7 or 8 years. But eventually I started to really hear what he was saying about mindfulness of emotion. And that was so helpful. And so using this kind of practice, again, to know how emotions arise, how that feeling of caring, or a feeling of irritation or anger or rage or injustice, how those feelings arise, take shape and dissolve. They happen within the mind. They arise, they're part of the world that arises within the mind. They arise, they take shape, they do their thing, they pass away. So when we are developing insight, the London Insight, it's on the label, That's what it says on the tin. When we are genuinely developing insight, then as part of that insight, it's not just knowing this is a phenomenon arising and passing away. Part of that insight, intrinsic to it, is a recognition of what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is beneficial, what is unbeneficial. We're drawing upon our own natural wisdom. I would say that quality of discernment, that's a part of mindfulness and wisdom. That's an intrinsic part of genuine insight. So that when there is that, say, feeling of rage and injustice in society, or how you've been badly treated, and as a sort of professional spiritual figure, I get a lot of people coming to me and saying, Ajahn, there's terrible things happened in my family, and my brother-in-law, let me tell you. And quite sometimes quite horrendous things that people have done, or that various siblings are angling to get all the inheritance from beloved parents and such like. And so and hopefully we can, if there are questions, and we can discuss this. But it's not a matter of should I not be feeling this? Should I just let my brother have everything and just shut up and go away, or what should I do? And again, as I was saying to our good friend here, I don't make people's decisions for them. I never do that. But I can give you advice how to deal with your emotions in relation to that. So looking at that feeling of how dare he, my brother doesn't deserve this. What about my sisters and I? That he's trying to get all of the inheritance from our parents. This isn't fair. I'm a Buddhist. Should I just shut up and do nothing? Or what should I do? So in those kind of situations, then I would say, well, the important first thing to do is to look at the feelings that you experience, the sense of both injustice and anger, your brother, but also that the kind of superego saying, you're a Buddhist, you shouldn't be greedy, you should just let go. They listen to those voices, look at those emotions, know them as they are, and then through knowing those emotions, contemplating them, seeing where they come from, then consider, okay, what is the skillful way forward? What is a way to work with this that is not based on greed, hatred, or delusion, not based on anger or selfishness? What's based on kindness and compassion, and for the benefit of all? And then to use the meditation to explore those questions, and to use the meditation in a way to consult our own oracle, to draw upon our own wisdom, to say, okay, well, this looks like a good way forward. Let's try this and see what happens. And so that clarity around emotion, and also learning not to take emotions personally. Again, I think I was mentioning in one of the guided meditations that we didn't invent jealousy. You didn't invent kindness either. None of us invented anger or concentration. It's not personal. These are capacities of the mind because we're part of a natural order. So we experience these qualities: love, hate, fear, desire, owning, losing. These are natural. These are qualities of the natural world, a natural order, and we experience them because we have a mind, we have a body, we're in the human realm. But we tend to take those personally. I'm angry, I'm jealous, I'm excited, I'm being kind, I just lost, I won, this is mine. We take things very personally. But again, this developing a mindfulness of emotion, really knowing emotions as they arise and receiving them as they are, not taking them personally, then, again, as I was saying to our good friend here also, just receiving them as they are, even if they're confused and chaotic, that very openness to their emotion and knowing it as it is, then that helps us to be also open to the intuitive wisdom and to let that function freely, and to, as I draw upon that and that quality of wisdom, mindfulness and wisdom, we call satipanya in the Pali language. That mindfulness and wisdom, satipanya, that's what helps to point the way forward. So our decision making and the efforts that we make in life are not guided by ego or idealism, but rather guided by satipanya, by mindfulness and wisdom.